有请上台选手 Perfect Run。来。
And it is Carrier's Poppy, so he could just have a magical Poppy ultimate later. He could get some flash plays going off. You can just turn around entire team fights. You hit a couple people with that ulti. Let's get into it, though. I mean, Perfect as well. We talked about the Rumble priority early on for him. Yeah, and on the opposite side, that Wukong that I really highly prioritize right now as far as the jungle pool is going to find the first skirmish.
Cuz kicking things off, Carrier waiting off to the side, TP already used, flash backwards, the concussive blow stacking, Owner 2, they got him! Manages to lock him down, and that's gonna be first blood, they're donating it to BDD!
The roam up the bottom lane here, Peter on the Braum again!
This man was one game away from making, and I would say, dragging his team to finals back in 2021.
As Dom
going in, Hunter's volley not quite enough, now Carrier's looking to finish the job himself. Slowly but surely the Poppy whittling him down, Dom forced to flash away, but Carrier hungry for blood. A little bit more time, the Q flash forward, Dom with a bit of a sidestep, extra movement speed, trying to make it through the minions. Dom living for an extra moment, avoiding the angle back into the wall. Carrier gets the knockback, the cleanse coming out, 1-for-1 in the bottom lane.
And Dom tries to get Guma, pays for it with his life, but he does get the trade back.
Okay, now they're going to gank bottom lane too. Guma's trying to push the wave in. They're going to punish him.
Flash.
The wraparound. Braum is there. Wukong is there.
Knocked him on the way down. He won't be there in time. However, Unbreakable Peter looking to mark him up. Concussive blows finally hitting. Auto attack reset more than enough. Guma Yushi falls at the hands of Cuz.
And KT are not letting them breathe. That is already a kill going over to Cuz. Wukong accelerated, and it's a 1.2k gold lead at 6 minutes, Kobe.
And Cuz has done so much for this KT squad. He has been carrying really heavily himself. The early roam into the river, this roam here, they come back out onto the map at the perfect timing to punish the attempt to push the wave in, which also earns them this early dragon. And as we talked about in the setup before you even got into game number 1.
And have a good game is crucial for KT's game plan, as the ulti doesn't connect from Doran. That's crushing. Very likely would have been a sure thing on the initial kill, and now Perfect wants to go for the all-in. Carry on the way up, but Perfect is completely overheated. Buying a bit more time to overheat now as he turns back into the wave. Damage coming in, and the rest of the team has arrived. Spinning right on top of Doran. It is a cyclone. Carrier running for his life. Concussed. Taken down. KT dominating game 1.
Perfect on his Rumble. There is a reason he is so confident on that champion.
They have enough vision to know the objective hasn't been started, but they have to be careful at checking Fog of War. They wait to have 3 members strong. They spot Carrier, and they know that is their time to step up. Owner waiting. Guma Yushi on the way in. Arrow connecting. No chance to use the cousin guard. It might be too late by the time Owner does it. Realm War behind, and it's BDD right on top of Owner, but Faker is there to cover. Instantly, he's sprinting out to safety as Doc Dam starts to rain hell onto Owner, but the Xin is too damn tanky. The objective in the sights of KD. Guma, not enough time to charge the arrow. Second Drake dropping for KT Rolster.
Herald guaranteed, and what is the counterplay for T1 even? With Doran being pushed off of the top side of the map, there's not much for them to get except for a Scuttle Crab. Bottom side mid wave is not even going to get pushed all the way in.
Doran,
that's 4 people.
Overstaying, concussive blows. The Cyclone immediately comes out as well. Doran can't push a single button. KT merciless on the dive. Doran caught asleep at the wheel. Overconfident T1 trying to fire back for the first tower, but it's KT who get it. T1 chipping away at those resources. Eyes on the equalizer. Redemption now used. Cooldown up just in time. KT keeps going, but now they want to turn it right back. Instantaneous equalizer. Keria locked up. Rumble coming in, but denied. Keria wants to knock Perfect out of the fight, but it might not matter because it's Doran into the back line. Owner stays standing. Cuz take it down. T1 fire back.
No matter the early deficit, T1, they still win the team fight. They still get the dragon, and they're looking for BDD.
On the hunt for BDD, but there's just nowhere for him to go in the blink of an eye. KT's lead disappears.
And KT, they walk into the pincer. That objective just a little bit too juicy.
Doran is getting the top tower at the moment, so that is going to be guaranteed gold here for T1.
And this is the struggle of playing against T1. Their movement around the map is so confident. KT need to be ready. Know they have an advantage in the fight if it comes down to the 5v5. Flash forward, ulti into the back, immediately thinks he kicked off, but Peter does his best to heroically disengage. It is not enough to keep Doc Dom standing. Cuz taken out as well. Doran in the 3v1, completely and totally unfazed. Keria there to stop any further follow-up. Faker taking down Perfect, and BDD is not enough to stop T1.
And it's the Krug Lord that finds his mark. Doc Dom goes down, and T1 turn onto Otacon.
Doran, the addition to this T1 roster, annihilated him.
Hello.
Resetting, resistance is shredded by the Otacon. Keria, ward over the wall, spots out Cuz. T1 know it's a 50-50 now. 5 seconds on Doc Dom, but he doesn't have access to a TP to make it to the fight any faster. Perfect TP available. BDD finds the angle into Doran. Keria now backing up. 3K on the objective. Getting lower. Steadfast presence gone. Faker on the backside. Cuz wants to try to make it out of this one, but now they're moving into advantage. Take out Guma. No, Guma living. Wants to finish him. Looking for a bit more damage, but T1, they find the double for Keria. They take the Thornbound Otacon, and Perfect. It is too little. It is too late.
Baker teleports in and he saves the team fight. He gets that shove. They get the Otacon.
Already getting mid-prio. Doran fishing for the flank once again. Ready to come over the wall with the public execution. Keria going into the wall, locking up Cuz. Instantaneous knockup. A flawless combo to keep it going. Duck Down finally escapes, but he just finds himself in a 1v1 versus Doran. Hope fading fast for the side of KT as Keria is still standing. Perfect and BDD running for the hills. T1 grabbing their second Drake, but Owner not done yet. Knocks Peter out as well.
And Cuz just doesn't get to play the game. Keria, who we haven't talked about in a bit, had a rough start to the lane. I'm thinking now the Poppy pick really works out. He's the one that settled the pick onto the Wukong, and he gets CC'd 100-0. And it was the resilience of KT that got them the win against Gen.G. That game looked dire as well. TP comes in from Faker, won't have his ult, Zona goes in.
Catch him out, Unbreakable used to kick off the fight. That's the ulti from Gumayushi. Good response coming in from Perfect, but the damage not really enough. Ulti does not connect from Doran. Knockback from Keria takes BDD out of the equation, and once again it's Doran on top of Doc Dam. Concussive blows buy him an additional second. Perfect running, the flick back likely to come through as Faker tries to get the damage down, but now he finds himself in a brief 2v1. Goes golden, knocked back into the wall. Keria there right in time as KT are effortlessly dismantled. Doran dropping Perfect as well.
And they're gonna at least get the shove. I was kind of wondering whether they wanted to play for the end, but not gonna be the case. TP's toward the Baron, and T1 about to close out this game.
Objective getting lower. Owner waiting over the wall to divide the team coming in from Faker. Denied a bit by Peter, and it's Owner now on the flank looking for Cuz. Not sure if he's found Cuz, turning right back onto Owner. Owner instantaneously into the back line. The concussive blows there, as is the perfect execution. Keria in the thick of it. Gumayushi and Faker untouched coming over the wall, but it's Faker. Full confidence is the flash, but unfortunately the flip back goes wide. Doran turns it right back with a sundering blow. KT pulling away. Man advantage for the side of T1 being ushered out. Keria wants to deny it, but he will only be able to isolate Perfect. The Baron still backing them up. The Dragon in their sights. T1 once again taking a fight.
And an attempt from KT to maybe get a soul point because T1 took that Baron. Not going to end up working out. That's going to be in the moment that Doc Dom's taken out of the fight. Cuz alone can't really do enough AD damage. And guess what? He's been taken out every single time. As being Ash against all these dive threats, T1, even though the very early skirmish didn't go their way, are now marching on KT's base.
Final wave of this Red Bull Baron power play. Brought in the mid lane from Faker. Wall to isolate the tower. They want to break open the space, limit the options for KT. T1 outplaying in the fights, and now that they have a lead, they're not looking to give anything away. 3 minutes on the next Baron, 3 minutes on Soul for T1. Is Faker still fishing for the flick back, for the seismic shove? Start to flounder. They decide it's not worth it. They decide they don't want it. Instead, they're going to turn their sights to the Drake. Spawning in 4 seconds. T1 already have secured the Baron on the back of a keeper's verdict from Keria. Now they might just look to end it here. Flash forward. Perfect execution. Aptly named as Doc Dam takes him down. KT now chasing out as well. BDD trying to well more back into the rest of the team. But Keria once again there to interrupt. Doran unfazed by the magic damage of BDD. It's a double kill coming through. Perfect and Cuz, the last two left standing. But a TP into the base to bring back and seal the deal in game one. T1, what a performance.
And Perfect running for the hills. I don't think his survival is gonna matter as Doran and Keria show a masterclass in this game one. The lane for both, I think, looked a little precarious, but those team fights, man, that's a smile on the face of T1's top laner.
Doran was a heat-seeking missile in this game.
The big thing for me, though, is, again, you have to find a way to be able to stand up to the massive amounts of coordination that are coming out of these T1 team fights.
Faker stealing away that ultimate from Rakan to make an incredible game-winning play. And let me tell you, there are a lot of incredible ults for him to take once again.
And I'm definitely looking at the Nico ultimate for sure, too. If he can find Peter, if he can steal the Nico ultimate, the engage there would be huge.
BDD will be able to maintain his pressure on this lane, but he does have to pay for it heavily.
And the critical part is that T1, they don't overextend the play because Cuz and Peter were on the way there, and now they're looking at Guma.
KT getting aggressive, just knocking down Gumayushi, taking first blood as Peter flawlessly turns into the Canyon minion to eat countless tower shots.
We've seen this so many times, and it actually does get old seeing that happen again.
To take the first Drake of the game. KT with a small gold lead, but T1 balancing it out with this Cloud Drake. Cuz on the top side means no contest to come through, and T1 doing a better job of not giving away too much control in this game too.
Honeyfruit.
And Faker doesn't have his ultimate available, so that might be the reason why T1 is a little bit hesitant. And also this time their skirmishing just isn't quite as strong, right? In the previous game, I think that they had so much power there.
BDD.
Not quite the case here.
Getting aggressive, access to the golden clips is there.
The Sivir here does need multiple items to really have that extra pressure, and the team is built around a Sivir Lulu comp here. While there's possibilities elsewhere.
Nice side set from BDD, just barely able to get away. Vault Breaker coming in for Cuz, opts not to flash. The turn back from Owner is solid. Faker now on the way in himself, trying to use the golden clips to keep things going. The Ezreal ulti across the top. BDD grabbing one. Faker will turn it back, but he's under the tower, and it's Cuz to take him down.
And it's the subterfuge from KT. Cuz actually spotted that Owner was there. So BDD says, let's go for the play.
Of the pit, a finally award is dropped, but it might not matter. Peter with flash available.
There's the ult.
Cuz off to the side. Ulti from Doran's not going to catch anybody, but it might have zoned KT away enough. Doran likely to give his life here, but the Drake already down in favor of T1. On the hunt, popped. Perfect tunneling out to safety. T1 got what they came for. They're going to make a hasty retreat. They don't want the 5v5. Content trading that ulti of Doran for the Drake.
He needs to be very careful about how he picks his fights because, again, T1, there's only 2 big carries, but this early on, the damage is still there as BDD.
BDD potentially caught out, layering in the CC a little bit off. BDD unstoppable for a brief moment, ready to use the ulti, but Faker is stolen, one away, the goal in the clips, so the follow-up is there from Peter. Makes it a 1-for-1. Vault Breaker coming in. Faker just CC'd for an eternity. The Kingslayer healing not available in time as Cuz is on a killing spree.
So T1's idea was to make the quick play before the Rift Herald fight, but KT, they close the trap, they get 2 back for themselves, and the teleport from Doran does signal they want something.
I need to be
Doran here.
careful.
Tower going to fall. Likely not enough damage to kill Doran, but at least zoning him away as they set their sights on the objective. Herald already started.
Don't want to let them get this dragon. Want to get soul point themselves.
Faker's ulti available. Needs to hijack the ulti of Peter. Chip Really starting to hurt onto Doran. Catch over the wall onto Cuz, the most fed member. They're immediately going to delete him, and the rest of KT try to pull the trigger, but they can't quite find the angle. BDD, Doctum, they've got the range advantage. Peter waiting to peel for them if necessary. Perfect. Spots them in the darkness. The Tremor Sense showing him what he needs to see, but they've stopped moving or have moved out of range. He can't be certain now. The Q from Doran moving in. Peter still gets the ulti. It's a golden eclipse from BDD. A new dawn for KT in game 2, but T1 are unconcerned. Guma, Keria standing, the bot lane. Will it be enough? BDD trying to buy her back, but it's Gumayushi fearlessly advancing, ricocheting, tearing through the dreams of KT.
Guma with the moves at the end. He gets the extra kills and cleans up for T1.
Does not care. Look at that record at the bottom of your screen. He might have faltered in the early game. He might have been behind in game 1 and game 2, but this man is a team fighting demon. The dragon starting to fall. Turn back from Baker as he catches out Doctom. Cuz there to try and peel, but it is too late. Owner moving in. A cataclysm across the top side. Perfectly canceled. BDD flashing over the wall. Gumayushi still living. Perfect on the chase. Peter wants to fire back. Cuz running for the hills. 2 down on the side of T1, but Guma might be enough. Perfect gets the bite, tears right through him, and now it's Owner picked off as well. KT fighting for their lives. BDD still standing. Crucially, the extra damage. Doran set to fall. A double kill for the KT mid laner.
And BDD stands supreme on the mill, stays alive through it all, and that is going to be the Otacon.
BDD said in the trailer that he was inspired to become a mid laner by Faker's play, and he was inspired to pick Mel in this game by Faker, and he's dominating on the Mel. Clutches it back up, and it's after a huge play from Faker, but BDD is able to use the ultimate to snipe him at the end.
And it's an overplay here. T1 try the force the hand. They waited it in game 1, but they're not actually able to get on top of BDD, who flashes over the pit, and then Peter ensures that Perfect can get on top of Guma, and all the while BDD just stacking up the passive.
How durable those team members can become, but Baron, more important, 43 seconds. Perfect trying to push in this wave. A lot of damage to finish that tower up, and now makes it pretty easy. Unaware of the Scion, but knows that he has relative safety. Has to be careful about walking forward towards that brush. And Doran perfectly placed and baited Doctom. Far too confident.
Doran lying in wait makes Scion look like an assassin here. Right down to that dragon and start it themselves.
And I think it makes sense that T1 gives it up, because looking at the spikes, Guma didn't have his IE, just now finishes it, and BDD did have his death cap. So fighting just before against Lulu and Scion, gonna get a ton of value.
And now we get to see the critical point. Can the Sivir with 3 items outplay everyone holding their breaths for the next team fight to see if KT can turn this gold lead into a team fight victory for one of these critical objectives? 4-item Sivir.
Sneaking it. Oh, they're calling the bluff. They know.
Full committing. T1 now turning to Baron. They don't want to risk the contest here. Owner starting the objective. As you get into the fight, keep your eyes on the key carries, Guma and BDD. If either one falls, their team very likely to win the fight. Interrupt there. The Baron not very quick. Chemtech Drake down. Soul point there. Might just come down to the 50-50. Cuz on the way. T1
now looking to pounce Doctum in the river, but he is Ezreal.
Doctom, pass over the wall. Peter looking to make a play. Lockdown onto Faker, looking to turn it back. Root is connected as well. Faker's been caught. Buys a brief moment with the Seekers. The rest of T1 retreating. Perfect buying a bit more space, and the tunnel over the wall. It's a heist. He buys the time to take Faker down. Doran with a decimating smash. Peter on the chase. They'll only connect onto one, but it's enough to start the fight in their favor. Gumayushi untouched, but he's now also not able to do any damage. Cuz keeping it going. KT pushing into the jungle of T1, zoning them away from the Baron as they set their sights on that Red Bull Baron power play.
They win the critical fight. They find Faker. They get the advantage, and Perfect is able to escape. Wait a second.
BDD flash. Doran forced to flash back over the wall. Sidestep on the decimating smash. Peter there to cover. Guma can't push for anything else. Doran getting chunked out. That's the ulti to seal it. BDD going godlike. Guma alone in the mid lane. Objective slowly falling. Owner zoned off. Perfect there with the knock-up. Needs to lock it down. Owner's not going to have a chance. KT, it takes some time, but they take down the Baron.
You can't just walk past the Nico because Peter held his ult, and now the Red Bull Baron power play for KT, 8k, 9k gold lead here, 35 minutes in.
Guma, incredibly far ahead, 4 items, has a bit of lifesteal, can clear the waves, but the range, the threat that KT can bring with the Ezreal, with Mel from BDD, 11, 3, and 3, 3,000 individual gold lead. His first competitive game looking damn good. Faker going golden. The second the chains miss, he doesn't want to push for anything else. Ball break over the wall from Cuz, ready to go, but he's not going to overextend because the mid lane's already falling. KT taking their sweet time with this one, knowing that T1 have one shot to turn this back in their favor.
It's just Guma. He's just a Sivir, trying his best, but
getting 2 members of T1 over the wall. KT retreating back down to the bottom lane as Cuz starts the objective. Flag there, spots the objective play. Faker on the flank. Perfect, not going to give him the angle. KT starting to retreat, starting to get forced backwards. Doran to kick things off. Peter to look for the interrupt. Faker using an ulti of his own to be stolen away. BDD taking another fight, but down goes Guma. Cuz making it work, but PD's owned away by Keria, and all of KT now collapsing on the T1 support. At the end of the day, it is only Owner, and he cannot stop the soul.
KT get the soul, and they want the Nexus too!
Perfect continues to push down. They've learned, they've adapted, they've stayed strong in the face of the game 1 loss. KT firing back against T1, but do they have the power to end the game? Another TP, Doctum on the way. Doran giving everything to clear the waves. Owner and Keria here. Surely the Ezreal is enough, but the creeps are falling back. Doran remains standing. T1 are not out of it yet. Doctum needs more, and he cannot get it.
Guma's up in 10 seconds. The reinforcements from T1 will arrive.
And T1 will cling on to this game.
And still, they'll take their time walking into the jungle. This time around, Doran won't be able to find the blind decimating smash, but the ulti to kick things off, he connects onto the wall. Perfect waiting on the back line. Doctum untouched, BDD untouched. Doran straying way too far forward in a moment of miscommunication. Down goes the top laner of T1. KT start the Baron.
That faceplant means Baron, boys.
It was always going to be a Hail Mary from T1 if they wanted to get back in this game, but that one does not hit the mark. That's Baron, the second one for KT.
In the 2025 World Finals, Doran isolating Cuz. Peter going forward, finds 3 with the knockup. Perfect there to fall, but Faker turns it right back and knocks down Peter. Doctum, BDD, still standing. Baguma! He's shredding through everybody! The Sivir finally allowed to take over the fight, but they managed to take him. Faker still alive in the scrappy fight. The extra healing is making all the difference. Doctum doesn't quite have the damage that he needs. KT holding on for dear life. Doctum able to find the kill. Perfect, Cuz Doctum falls. A final hold for T1. It almost turns in their favor, but Perfect is going to end the game. Guma dies, and so does T1. KT even up the series.
And I can't believe I'm saying this, but Perfect, reliable as all hell in this game, doesn't go down. Deals the damage, and with the alpaca thumbs up, brings KT to 1-1. It's gonna be fireworks.
Absolutely is. T1 and KT 1-1. Match point on the line for both sides, and a lot of new champions being brought into the fold courtesy of the Fearless Draft. The Viego, I'm looking at the Mundo, the Syndra. So much to keep our eyes on in this game 3.
Cuz maybe doing some poking, but I don't think an actual contest is in the works here.
As long as he has his passive
Peter
up,
is.
he's not too worried. Hex Drake down. BDD waiting in the darkness. Multi-man! The CC layering is there. Doctum on the way in, but he's only level 4. Owner now running for his life. Forced to flash away. Ulti comes out from Faker. He doesn't have a lot of mana left. The Dark Sphere hitting, slowing Faker down. The chase coming through, but they really don't have what they need. Ulti there. His power unleashed. The weak scattered. And first blood for KT.
BDD Syndra finds it, and they do get the first blood. Doctum, before it joins up with the opponents, is going to mean Cuz has an inside route and access to the alligator, though.
That's a Mundo with red buff.
Doran.
Doran.
Syndra's coming.
Doran.
He's just dead.
You only have one piece of CC.
cornered.
Yeah, that doesn't work on him. He's going where he pleases. Doran, I think this might not have been what you wanted. BDD on the way, hoping to get this donated. Doran, I think...
Well, he's stalling.
Barnott might be in the game, but this is certainly a magical journey for Doran as... I don't...
Trying for the execute. It's all he can do, but not going to happen.
Well,
because there's not prio in either lane. It feels like T1 should have this on lockdown because it's there, and Mundo
That's a hard
to
steal.
be unbothered.
Continuing to do
That's
decent
a lot of
damage.
damage.
Infernal, good damage as well. Lock up there, but Owner going unstoppable. Peter caught out for a brief moment, immediately going to be forced to ult. That's the unbreakable. The flash, it doesn't connect. The Q doing absolutely nothing means T1 are able to walk away. A bit of a fumble from Peter, but it doesn't cost KT much yet. Gumayushi standing on the backside, ready to transcend if he needs to. Doctem going all in to try to stop him from getting his fight. Owner on the way in, looking for the reset to keep the fights going. BDD going over, wants to kill Owner, but Owner lives for an extra second. The stun to turn it back. Owner taking over BDD, but the stun does not connect, and Peter's now running. Cuz locked down in the meantime. Perfect is finally here, but it might not matter. Reset on the ulti from Owner means he gets to back away, but the health bars are low across all of T1. KT, this is an insane gamble. Objective, lower and lower, and Cuz is taking unstoppable for Perfect. Gets a bit more space. Carrier still living. Doctem on the way in, and Guma set the fall. Down goes the 80 carry. Doctem on the way out, the TP in. Fish in a barrel, and it's time for KT to start free firing. T1 thought they had the edge, but in the end, it's KT who take the Drake and the play. Maximum dosage popped just to get him in range as BDD then now collapsing on the side lane. Multiple pieces of CC stun. Initial lock up into Owner is decent. BDD trying to turn back. Sidestep does not work. Owner taking the kill.
One of the hardest parts about these control mage changes.
On the Herald. Now there is still vision here from T1 if they do opt to contest.
Oh, there's the TP, there's the flank!
TP from behind, flashing forward, Carry's gonna find the knock on the Doctor, but Peter beautifully stopping the initial engage. Dorn from behind, though, more than enough to knock down that 80 carry. KT running.
Huge TP flank, what? It turns into more!
Peter, flash out, reset from Owner, unstoppable for a moment. Owner setting up for the angle, but he's not going to overcommit. Reset on the ulti, taking him out as T1 start the objective.
But you do give up the topside turret, this gold lead for T1. Getting larger and larger as Carrier not sitting on
Peter,
Smite.
Hex Flash, Pulverize, knocks Carrier back over the wall, and here comes Doctem. Down goes Carrier. A little bonus kill on top of the Drake, certainly nice to have.
I don't know what he was thinking. He doesn't have Smite.
So KT get the Drake, they get a kill. The Redemption now used as well, and it's on Dorn to instantly delete this wave. It's working out well so far, but can he keep his life? TP's coming in from the side of T1, but it's just Faker and Guma off to the side. They don't have the tools to keep the fight going. KT going to respond. All of T1 now retreating. BDD wants to deny it. Scatter to clear out the rest of the wave. It'll be a chunk of damage, but the tier 1 will not drop.
Nicely done by KT to parlay that pick into an extra kill.
Baker continuing to poke.
If you win this fight, you might not just get Dragon, you might get Otacon as well. We'll see T1 might give up the Drake and then play for the objective instead. Perfect.
Owner lurking in the darkness. Perfect unstoppable for a brief moment. T1 happy to have the poke chipping away at that health bar.
Oh, they're pincering them.
KT losing control of that Tri-Brush is big. Scatter going wide, also massive. It's a huge cooldown at this point in the game. Perfect over the wall with the blast cone. Knocks back Guma. Redemption going down. Cuz holding on to the maximum dosage as long as he can, but it's Faker off to the side. Not too isolated. 5K on the Drake. Getting lower. Eyes on Peter. The Alistair to make the play as Faker tries to zone away. KT, it's Peter in the clutch. Scatter to fall, but the fall of damage is not there. Exhausted is Faker. And Carrier tries to turn it back, but he's all by his lonesome. Doran cannot get into the back line. KT managed to find the initial kill. It's perfect start to pop off. Guma missing completely. They get the Drake, but it might cost T1 everything.
He flashes into the wall, and that might be the Otacon going over to KT.
Cuz continuing to go where he damn well pleases. T1 forced back. The tier 1 tower starting to fall. Otacon already getting started by the remaining members of T1. Peter waiting as well.
A critical team fight for KT. They don't care about losing that Dragon because they get the gold and they get the Otacon in the aftermath.
They have to be careful of moving into the choke, and they know it. Owner trying to approach from another side. The potential for BDD to line up a multi-man scatter for it to end the fight in a blink of an eye is massive, but once again, it's the flank that they're looking for. But it's Doran caught out! BDD unleashing his power. Cuz using the maximum dosage as KG start to push into Gumayushi. He's ultless, he's helpless. There's nothing he can do. Mundo pushing further and further into T1's back line.
KT are doing it! The stun from BDD right onto Renekton as he's trying to go through the wall. BDD stuns him as he dashes, and the reward might be barren.
Coming in from BDD, well called. Potential 50-50. The Mundo damage. The auto carrier trying to zone. Peter on the way and wants to knock them out of the fight. The objective getting lower and lower, but all of T1 deleted! And blink of an eye, KT take everything!
And the scatter from BDD will not let them pass.
And then they know to start up the Baron, draw T1 to them. The desperate play from T1. They flash in, they try and burst down Doctam, but the peel is there. Doctam does not fall. And KT, they've got Baron, they've got a 4,000 gold lead. They also have the Otacon buff still. And for this roster, with Doctam, Peter, and Perfect all being subbed out at various different times of the year, for them to work back to this point, inspirational stuff. KT, can they do it?
We saw it in the previous game. T1 was almost able to find their way back. Kuma doesn't have a third on him yet though. That execution is not quite there. And trying to play a pick comp from behind is known to be an exercise in futility. Look at Perfect, he's not afraid.
T1 have to be careful. A single scatter connects and it all could fall apart.
Cuz is almost level 16 here on the Mundo as well. Ooh. That rank 3 ultimate is big.
As this bot lane inhib certain to fall, you see T1 as well. They're accepting it. Doran maybe trying to trade an inner in top. Cuz just getting a crab for his efforts, as now the free item spikes have been hit for Faker, for Owner, and for Guma.
Peter. KT waiting off to the side. T1 see an opportunity. Doran continuing to push in the top lane. T1 want to just keep KT around, deny these resets, but there's no real major example. Faker caught out by Peter. Cuz on the way in, but nothing's going to come from it. Ulti goes from Faker, and Peter's just going to walk away.
And during their defense, T1 are able to get the top side secondary tower for Doran in addition to the red buff, plus this outer tower as well. So a little bit of gold back in their favor, but KT,
T1 have found themselves in deficits in a game like this. It was the three of us. JDG looked like they had them on the ropes, and they found the comeback as the TP comes in.
TP from behind, they want to catch out Perfect. Perfect can try and use Doran as an escape route. Keria has to be careful, but Pathmaker already used means that Perfect is in trouble. Q3 back through, using Keria now to escape. Perfect on his way out. It's not the Rek'Sai, but once again, it feels like he's going to escape. All of KT looking to collapse. Eyes on Faker and Doran as Perfect flashes out to safety. That's the ulti used by Guma. KT pulling back, keeping Perfect alive. Doran wants to make the difference. Cuz goes in! T1! Making it happen! Guma fails to flash. It stops the fight from going through. Doran getting whittled down. And in the end, it's Cuz again who refuses to drop. Peter with the CC. I cannot believe it. KT holding on as T1 in the end might finally get to the moon. Now, no!
Who comes out ahead? The scrap Faker trying to chase down the extra kill, but so is Cuz.
I think the time has worked out better for KT here. Look, the jungler for KT is up, Cuz. But it's the deficit that they're in that makes that close. In a normal situation, that catch just ends it. BDD will get caught as the Baron is surely in the eyes of KT on the precipice of match point.
T1, the pressure point is on them. KT have baited them into the trap. Peter from the darkness, finding Doran, but not the ideal carry as Guma and Faker are still untouched for now. Gravity field to lock them up. Maximum dosage. Cuz getting lower, but still living. The Mundo refusing to die, and Guma Yuchi drops. KT taking it across the finish line. Faker forced back. The bot lane open. The TP there for BDD. KT moving to match point.
The KT Rolster coaster keeps going up and up.
We're still not done. KT about to go up match point in the telecom war in the world's final.
A story at this tournament of dominance when it started, and people doubted the quality of their opposition, and then they beat Gen.G.
With key mistakes that we're seeing from T1, the fact that KT is able to find these opportunities and punish the mistakes is a testament to how well they've been playing.
It absolutely is, and teams haven't been able to do it for 3 years. How is it KT that's doing it, Emily?
I don't know.
They're really going to need to have full map control, be better on the setup, because on the opposite side, you have these walls that can catch people out that matches the one piece of CC that feels like could do something for KT, which is the pillar. You've got the stuns, you've got the Renata, the Gragas to potentially set up these plays. Huge, I think, burden on Doran to be the guy who can make this happen.
We'll see if Cuz can make something happen. Might look here, has his Raptors just now done. Making his way over, even getting a summon or getting the egg would be big.
Faker grounded, Cuz on the way in. Good wall to force the disengagement. BDD full committing even though he has no mana. They do manage to get the passive out of Faker. Cuz full committing. Peter on the way. The tongue lash there. They want to get the kill to BDD, but it'll go to Cuz in the end.
And what could be the deciding game, KT, they send all resources again.
As T1 wanting to look for the punish here.
Keria and Guma are powerful. They move in with the heal. A pillar to immediately block them out. The 50-50 goes to Owner. Flash away from the handshake. Is Peter barely able to make it out alive. Good recovery from T1.
And he flashes for that. He's like, no.
T1 continuing to stack the objectives that they need in this game. Using Guma and Keria, their priority nicely. They rotate over from mid lane to the grubs, up to top lane, and want to keep that pressure on.
It's really looking like a full commit or bust.
Cuz ready for the 50-50. Faker off to the side. Decent damage onto BDD. Owner going all in. Flashback coming out from Cuz. Wall there as well as BDD just barely able to skirt around the edge. But the objective set up now for the side of T1. Double TPs. KT want to claim it for a bit more. Ulti coming out from the side of Keria. Drake down. The backline of KT berserk as they look if they can turn it back. But again, they don't have the tools to keep the fight going unless Peter wants to flash tongue lash. But that's all their CC. Perfect fighting off to the side, dragging Faker into the death realm. In the meantime, BDD starting to walk forward. Doran potentially caught out. The 4-man! BDD! Showing he can be clutch in the moments that count. Turning it again. KT were losing the fight as they lost the objective. Gumayusi will not be able to make the bailout work. The Drake to T1. The fight to KT.
Oh, Doran's going to want that one back. The big whiff on the Gragas engage there.
Peter, knock up a bit too far. The thick skin, yeah, it's not going to save you. Caught up in the hype, caught up in the moment. Faker going to get one back.
Yeah, getting a little bit ahead of themselves there. The roller coaster, sometimes a bit of a bumpy ride.
So they can continue to stack these neutral objectives. And that's the way that they're going to apply this pressure to KT and not allow them a lot of extra time in the game.
Early objective stacking going the way of T1.
Herald summoned in the mid lane. 5v5 at the pit. Flash ulti available for BDD if he wants to try and find it. Perfect isolated off to the side. Hostile takeover stops Peter from going any further. Docdam completely isolated. Cooking the barrel for just a little bit longer, and now the Drake is going to go down. Owner taking it. Docdam isolated. And Perfect trying to force a fight with Faker, but he gets nothing as the wall comes in to interrupt. Flash over the wall. The ulti from BDD. He might get a couple more kills, but again, the objective belongs to KT. Even as T1 begin to fall, Faker and Keria are ready to turn it. But have they overcommitted the wall there, trying to disengage Keria? Faker running into the pinch, obliterate, connecting for full damage. Cuz on the chase, waiting a few seconds for the pillar, but the stun clutch to disengage for the side of T1.
At least to get the TP out of Doran.
Understand the gamble that KT are in because T1 are collapsing, and in the meantime, waves are being deleted. It's costing KT hundreds of gold just to be here. And if T1 take the fight, it might just cost them the game.
Perfect has
sticking around, ready to get them away. The ulti not stacked up. Perfect going forward just a little bit longer. The death realm to come out. Owner going to respond with an ulti of his own, turning off the lights on this team fight between both lineups. Gumayusi and Perfect in the death realm, and Guma takes those. T1 focusing on the objective. Cleanse used from Keria. Heal on the way. Faker finding a bit more damage. BDD isolated. Hostile takeover going to connect onto BDD. It won't have much effect as Cuz tries to chase Faker out. But Docdam, he might take Keria. But it's T1 taking the Otacon. Guma securing the objective.
And there it is. The second smite for T1 strikes again as Otacon goes their way.
Cuz still eating a bit of damage. The poke from T1. A bit tough to deal with. You can see the pierce that lands onto Docdam, taking that chunk of health. Flash in, full committal to the fight. Pillar to isolate Owner, redemption to heal Faker right back up. That's almost every single cooldown burn. It's on BDD to try to turn it back, but it's a split fight. T1 coming from multiple sides, collapsing as Owner moves in on top of Perfect. Doran has been isolated in the death realm, but he'll manage to make it over. Flashback, absolutely jukes him. And now it's Perfect caught in a 1v1 with Faker right as he comes out. He is stunned, but he won't be taken down. All of T1 in the pit. The spears stacked, smites available.
Faker's going to teleport back. They're recalling Mordekaiser and the Anivia.
The fight just continues to go. 6K getting lower. Docdam trying to get a bit of poke. Hostile takeover connecting. They don't have a cleanse. Devour from Peter is good, but it might not matter. Cuz continuing to move in. BDD waiting over the wall. The ulti is there, but they don't need to face him yet. The turn on to Faker isn't enough. 3K. Cuz in the pit. At the end of the day, it does not matter because it is Doran to get the soul. KT might be able to get the fight, but there's too many members of T1 standing. Ocean Soul to T1 as everybody on KT falls.
And I am starting to a telecom war!
For BDD, that crucial piece of CC and exhaust there. But Faker just waiting in the darkness. Guma stacking up the spears, the wall to zone KT away. Flash not there for Cuz either. BDD off on the side is going to use the ultimate. W in from Peter does absolutely nothing. T1, they see a vulnerable opponent. They know what they can do as they start to rip them to shreds. KT is not going to take a bear, and T1 reminding us why they are here, what they can do in a world final.
And T1 ensure that we are going the distance. We are getting our full value out of this series as KT just cannot close.
Yeah. Looking like a hard road for the side of KT. And now,
but it's good news for us.
When a comeback happens, if KT can make it happen, then it's something to be considered. Maybe a miracle flash, but it will take that miracle. And for KT, it's so important not to lose sight of the bigger picture. This is a game you could afford to lose because of what you won earlier. It might come down to a best of one, but you need to be at your best form for that matchup because this game is looking done and dusted. Owner pushing in the mid lane. KT can't really afford to split as that tower falls. The threat of T1 diving into their backline, a very real threat.
BDD found a big play on his Yone in game 1 against Gen.G to find a miraculous comeback, but this game feels so much more dire. About 35 seconds till we see that Elder come up. I don't even know if T1 really wants to wait for it. With 2 inhibitors, they can just decide to back off. No pressure on them.
It's so effortless for T1 to just walk away.
Yeah, perfect. Guma is 2 levels up on the top laner.
Cuz caught out, isolated, immediate subjugate to try and stay standing, forced to flash back. BDD in the darkness! 3-man! But it's Doran to try to turn it right back! The ulti is decent, Carrier wants to turn it back with a hostile takeover. The gold deficit is just too massive. Even a miracle, even an incredible angle was not enough in the face of this T1 lineup. The triple, the quadra, T1 bringing us to silver scrapes.
Guma lives the engage, and T1's hopes live in the grand finals.
And the telecom war has never been this insane! World's Finals, Game 5!
But the impact that he had in so many of these team fights, like, it was truly phenomenal.
It was, and I have to shout out BDD as well, right? Because he gets, just like on the Syndra, right? He gets a lot of...
We have a comp that can split push, that can endlessly wave clear, and it's playing for the big spikes on Ziggs and Smolder. The pressure coming from Sejuani, from Yorick, from the Nautilus early. And then on the other end, that's a classic.
Perfect. Needs to back up. Level 3. Getting lower and lower. Last Right's offering a bit of healing. The tactical sweep there from Doran to slow him down. Owner all but certain to make this one come through. First blood for T1. Doran's Camille takes it.
The 3-camp gank.
Actually having so much Fred here in mid.
Yeah, it's a critical breakpoint because Galio lane does really revolve around, do I have jungle pressure to put threat behind when I move up in lane and try and taunt you? And now you don't have that pressure at all.
Q forward, sidestep, the taunt, Faker, turning it back, BDD, one more auto, the 1-for-1!
BDD, no hesitation, must have known that was going to kill him.
Meanwhile, on the top side of the map, Doran locked down with the Pandas, Cuz on the way up.
Oh, just barely.
With the flail. Doran barely able to walk away.
They didn't want to use the flash knowing that Doran's still at his. But we are getting explosive here. No slow early game in this game 5.
And BDD, he goes for that dive. You know, he does invest his flash. So that is something critical to look at. Owner is back and ganking again.
Perfect needs to get out. Has the flash available, but Doran just going to immediately flash follow. The adaptive defensive, the hook shot still there. The Q back for a bit of healing, but it's not enough.
Beautifully played, no hesitation. Owner flashes in so that Doran can then also close the distance.
Nigh unplayable for KT.
That it does, especially for BDD, the strongest point on the team currently, even as we see gold leads get bigger for Owner, and Doran cannot let the Camille start to take over. Perfect needs to stem the bleeding. You highlighted it so well. It's one of the few things that we haven't seen from him yet this tournament is now the hookshot wall dive is there. Doctom flashing away, but Owner's on the way as well. Ulti there, that's the Hextech ultimatum. Doctom likely to escape, but it looks like Peter will be sacrificed in return. The hookshot, making it out, send his play back to the tower, but it might cost Carrier his life. It's the 1-for-1, no! The minions flicking out! Carrier walks away!
Out of the lane swap, T1 find the trailing play here. Doctom and Peter could not fully push the wave in, and so T1 pounce.
And that's the the comments!
I had tea in my mouth, but that was incredible. The arcade comment.
He snipes him, and that salvages the play.
BDD does have priority of mid, and it's just going to be the one for now.
KT have to be so respectful of the sheer quantity of CC on the side of T1. Also, all of their burst damage so heavily telegraphed makes it very easy for Doran with the ultimate, for Owner with the Aegis Assault, to just mitigate all of that burst and turn a fight right back around.
With Sejuani to back it up, and the Camille Galio,
Faker.
Leona combo is
moving down, that's the combo, locks him in the ultimatum, finds the damage, the taunt is there, and Doran takes another.
Faker Galio in Game 5 World Finals here.
BDD zoning, poking while he can, dodges out on the tactical sweep, but uses the flap, so needs to be careful for at least a few more seconds.
That's Drake just gone.
Yeah, KT.
Got the first one, not the second one. Oh, perfect!
Doran on the way up, the Maiden summoned. Doran, though, he's got backup. Owner on the way in, locked once again in the ultimate of Doran. But Perfect living for an extra second. The Q2 coming through just in time. KT want to punish, but they're a little bit too late.
KT, the consolation prize will be the Rift Herald, though.
No one can really catch this wave, though. They don't want to use the Ziggs ult. It looks like BDD is going to make his way over now.
Plus, you're losing bottom side power there with Galio just up at the turret. Faker.
Survive Doran's initial engage, survive Owner's initial engage, not get caught in those big taunts or wombo combos from Guma.
Yeah, the dream for this KT squad is to be able to poke with your Ziggs as well as your Smolder once you get to your rapid fire.
T1 might just be a little bit late here. Cuz desperately needs to smite. Doesn't quite connect. Crucially, Dr. able to get out for a brief moment. BDD now trying to turn and fire back. But Faker is on the way. Ulti going in. Doran is down. BDD still standing. The exhaust managing to take him a little bit lower, but Gumi sits on the back line completely untouched. BDD finally able to start opening up. His Owner gets one back in return. Perfect is here to keep his mid laner alive. And there you go. KT find an angle to keep it close.
That's 2 shutdowns for BDD! And they get the second dragon as well!
This dragon could get huge. The Rift Herald goes down mid immediately. That was just after a 2-for-2 trade, and the dragon already went to KT.
1.5k individual lead. KT do not want to stick around any longer.
Could get some summoners out of T1, but it doesn't look like they want to take the gamble.
Perfect also about to be taunted up, has to be careful. They have so much damage here. Doran, of course, just reset the tower aggro, but he is locked down for a damn long time. Doran, untouchable for a brief moment, but they managed to kill him. T1 fumble the play in the mid lane, and Perfect redemption as he survives the dive. Mom called, but she will not connect.
The Dark Procession from Perfect, it got them so much, and now they're opening to get the tower, the extra gold as well. KT, they're striking back.
And it keeps the gold lead within touching distance. It further accelerates BDD. And this game 5.
Docdom here. T1 pushing them back. It'll take a miracle for them to get this one out. Owner, Peter coming in for the lockup, but Owner manages to get the objective. The fight coming out. Fire rained over the wall by Gumayushi, and down goes Peter. BDD finally arrived. That's the ulti coming in the meantime. He needs a little bit more space. Docdom, BDD untouched, but the front line has fallen. BDD, CC'd, knocked into the sky, and right back into the grave. T1, get Otacon, and ace KT.
A triple kill for Guma, and T1 do it! They take over!
And that could very well be the nail in the coffin for the roller coaster as Otacon goes the way of T1. KT overplay their hand, and the dragon is going to follow suit.
3.5k individual lead, 7,000 gold for T1. The Baron started as expected. KT in dire straits as Faker brings it back. Wants to turn with the taunt. Initial lockup from Keria is good. Docdom laying down a bit of poke, and he's going to be able to satchel out, but an immediate flash follow. Coming in from Owner. T1 don't even need the objective. They're happy to keep pushing for a bit more. On the top side of the fight, they've isolated BDD. He's continuing to fight. He wants to turn it back. He gets the kill. Doran, crucially, Faker falls. KT hold.
BDD, the heart of KT, is alive! The Smolder lives under the tower, but T1 are still pinging towards the objective.
There's no way with Smolder alive. I don't think you can get away with it.
flanks coming in. T1, entire topside missing Flash, that crucial cooldown, but their ultis will be there. 3 seconds on Doran. Gumayushi, the other player to keep your eye on as well. The ulti can do a lot of work. Doran going in, doesn't connect hookshot wall dive, immediately CC'd. Exhaust coming in as well. Combo over the top from Guma! Finds 2! Exhaust as Carrier moves his way to the backline. Faker rains down from the sky, locks up BDD, and obliterates the hope for KT Rolster!
The bullet time will end the time of KT here at Worlds as T1 will chase down Cuz and look for the Baron.
And BDD, oh, on his shoulders, and that is too much weight for one man to bear.
What a game. What a series it has been. And T1 will clean up that dragon as well, the leftovers.
Tasty snack for T1. T1 though, they're looking to secure their 3rd World Finals win in a row.
They don't want to give BDD the time to get that Infinity Edge. KT don't have the luxury of defensive items either for their key carries. Redemption, really all they have to protect Doc Dom and BDD. Faker solo pushing in the mid lane. The tier 2 will fall. Bot lane inhibitor likely next. This Doran really cannot be contested by anything more than the entire force of KT. The tiniest glimmer of hope still lives on as long as their Nexus stands.
And all's on the line. T1, they can smell the weakness. 11k gold now, sitting in that jungle, but even with the wave clear of Ziggs and Smolder, it's tough to hold on.
Doran looking to get things kicked off. Hookshot wall dive brings him over. He's taking the tower already. Flash back to get away from Cuz's ultimate, and the ulti manages to connect from Doc Dom. A big fumble. Not enough to get T1 back into full control of the game because there are no objectives on the map, but it will slow down. The onslaught of T1 has been called back as T1 looks set to get the soul.
And T1 also have the luxury. They could just look for the fight if they wanted to.
Owner
Okay.
takes the soul. Cuz stuck around a little bit too long, and now T1 empowered. Relatively even setup, but again, it's the waves in favor of T1 that make this so hard, as immediately they're going to kick things off by going in on Cuz. Taking away the Frost Armor passive. Lockdown from Carrier is there. TP in from Doran as well. Ulti's going across the board. BDD caught off the side. A good flash to take him out, and Guma has to be careful, but he's so damn fast. Owner to lock up BDD. He goes gold in an extra 2.5 seconds to consider what went wrong as T1 looks set to end it all.
They're going to finish the job. It is Doran and Peter left alone in the mid lane, and T1 will ace them.
T1 earning their legacy again and again and again. There can be no doubting it. 4 players on the Rift today, making the impossible possible. Owner, Faker, Gumayushi, Carrier, and now Doran as well are world champions.
And the disbelief on his face. A teammate that so many have praised over the long years. Domestically, he's always been able to show it. As T1 find the free-peat.
T1 wait a moment to lift the trophy together as 5. Doran, the latest addition to win his first title. The remaining 4, their 3rd consecutive. T1 world champions once again.